I haven't really had the time to sort of decipher that incredible story that we heard yesterday. Actually, I feel bad that I don't think it was recorded. I didn't record it. I'm not sure if it was recorded. But really, could probably break that story apart and find really incredible messages and lessons and inspiration on many different levels throughout that incredible story that really lasted for decades. One of the things that I found that hit me almost immediately is this incredible connection that Mr. Rima's father had, Alan Rima's father had to his father. And this incredible reverence and this incredible commitment, this incredible sense that this is what I need to do to honor the memory of my father, to give him that proper burial that he couldn't have when he passed away during the Holocaust. And that driving force that sort of almost consumed his very existence until he couldn't rest. It was on his mind throughout, to the point when he finally, it seemed to be happening. He literally, the shock, he fainted from a phone call, because you have my father. You're bringing him to Eretz Yisrael. And certainly there are many things that we can bemoan. I'm not sure if it really does any good. It's something that I guess I'm not sure how much I enjoyed hearing from parents or grandparents or Rabbiim, the good old days, growing up in the 60s and 70s, the way things were earlier. I'm not sure if that really does that much good from the point of view of hearing people reminiscing about the differences between the earlier generation and the present generation. I'm sure you hear it a lot in terms of the challenges you face. But I'm not really saying this to reminisce and to sort of just bemoan what it is that we're lacking today. But I am saying it from the point of view of just stopping to reflect a little bit and trying to gain a perspective of what it is that we can be working on what it is that we can be longing for, what it is that we have to aspire to. Bemoaning something is sort of, I don't see maybe the big benefit, but when we think about the past and we say a concept and we internalize the concept of when will I reach those emotions and those passions and those commitments that were clearly evident in the earlier generations, the absolute clarity that they had in terms of what was right and what was wrong. And the kibbud Avrohom wasn't just a feeling of respect for a father. It was a driving force of understanding what kibbud Avrohom is all about, what reverence for a parent is all about. And not just to say, look at today's generation, we don't have it. But let's look at today's generation and say, why can't we have it? Why can't we connect that way? Why can't we have that feeling towards our parents? Because I do think it exists on some level. We don't have to work very hard to find it. But if we look into our Torah and we look at our value system and what makes us tick and what our priorities are, and we don't look to the outside world to get the message of what it is what a relationship between a mother and a father to a child. I have to admit, I shouldn't admit it, but I was very curious, so I looked at the but there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of articles. I'm politically involved, and I'm watching Fox News, whenever I have a chance, and there's a lot of stuff about Roseanne. So I somehow was able to cop a 5-minute snippet of the new on the right show that is it's a rave of the craze of the day, and everyone's watching it, and it's a whole message. I look at there's a right out there. The conservative movement has finally a voice on TV. So I don't have a TV. I don't have access to but I access to a short little snippet. What is this about? What is this? This is right wing. This is so to speak conservative, and I'm not sure if it's really. I read that the writers are really not conservative, and they try to be balanced. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, here is what you would call, on the spectrum of shows, a conservative show. And just for the 5 minutes that I was able to catch from that, what did I see? I saw an argument between a mother and a daughter. And the level of disrespect, and the level of audacity, the level of language, I don't mean profanity, just the level of the type of discussion that are going on. And this is what you call conservative. And to try to think of how far away we are from an understanding of what it is, of what a mother and father is all about. A reverence for a Rebbe, a reverence for a Gadol Hador. These are things that somehow, in the world that we live in, with what we're consuming on a daily basis from the outside world, Rabbi said, we don't get it. And all of us are far away, we have to work on it. In this week's Parsha, we are introduced, Vahi B'Yom HaShemini, on this incredible day when this is the Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the day that the Jewish people get the Mishkan. And it's an incredibly important day because it's after the Egel. And there's so much angst and there's so much apprehension about this day. Is it going to be culminating in the proper Kiddush Hashem? Are we going to be fully, sort of in a sense, repatriated with HaKadosh Baruch Hu after this terrible sin that we did? And the very first pasuk, Vayi B'Yom HaShemini, who are we introduced to in this pasuk is L'Ziknei Yisrael. Speak to Aaron and to the Jewish people, get them all together, and the Ziknei Yisrael. And the elders, and the Medrash tells us that the elders play a critical role. Because the thing we have to focus on, and the Medrash says that we are only as strong as we are connected to our early generations. We are only as strong as our ability to look up and say, who do we come from? What are our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents like? What did they do? Hearing about the Holocaust is very, very important on many different levels, but maybe just to give us a glimpse of who these people were. And they became spiritual giants, and they were very, very special, but these were, as you heard, these are people who sold horses. They looked like simple Jews doing simple things on a daily basis. Rabbi said they had an emunah pshuta, they had a clear understanding. Those who did, not everybody, there were problems, there were trials and travails before World War II. As we heard, many Jews were leaving the fold because of the Enlightenment and all of the allures of secular society. But those who stayed strong, those who got it, those who understood, there was a strength of clarity, of knowing this is not a culture, this is not a custom, this is our very lifeblood. This is why we're alive, this is why we breathe. This is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us on this world. And in order to make that happen properly, we need to connect to the early Jew. It doesn't work any other way. You plop a Jew down, and you sort of disconnect him, and when you think about it, even a convert who's, well, his roots aren't, but a convert, by converting, is what he's saying is, these are my roots, this is who I belong to. It doesn't matter whether you're born Jewish or not. What matters is that you are, by making the statement, I am a Jew, you are saying that I belong to a Messiah, I belong to a legacy that's powerful. And I have to connect to the Ziknei Yisrael. I have to connect to the early generation to tell me what is true. There's we just sort of can't sit back and sort of make up our own stories. The Gemara says at the very end of Shemini, Rabbi Say, the idea of it being true is so important. I think if you ask most people today, it's sad statement, but I think if you poll most people who and you ask them, why are you religious? Why are you a Torah observant Jew? What is it about Judaism that draws you to fulfill its mitzvos? I think, again, I never took the survey. I'm not a sociologist. I don't have the time or the inclination to take all these polls, but I would gather that many people, way more than maybe we'd imagine, would talk about the fact that Judaism is beautiful, it makes me feel good, I love Shabbos, I love the Yom Tovim, I remember the good old days. This is just a lot of emotion that's attached to why people are religious. And maybe you can therefore say, if you don't have that emotion, you don't have that feeling, you don't seem to be thrilled with Shabbos, you're not into some of the other laws of the Torah, you're getting more alienated. Says the Gemara in this week's, it says the Gemara based on a pasuk in this week's Parsha. That Torah is Misina. And I'm saying something very obvious, but it's not so obvious. Because if the answer by so many people is, and especially teenagers, I would say, would probably answer the question this way more than any other way. It's about an emotional, well, yeah, I like it, this is my upbringing, this is the way I feel good, I like the environment, whatever the emotional response will be. It's very nice that we feel good. Who doesn't love the Shabbos? Who doesn't love a beautiful Chag? Who doesn't love to do certain mitzvahs to make us feel good? A lot of Judaism is very beautiful and very uplifting. Rabbi said, but when asked the question, why are you a religious Jew? That is not really the correct answer. I am a religious Jew because I am part of a people that was given a mandate by Kadosh Baruch Hu in the year 2448. This is very fundamental, Rabbi said. Please listen to this. Very fundamental. As basic as you can get, but as important as it comes. Because the Gemara says to us that you want to know how I know Torah is Mishinai? In this week's Parsha, one of the most powerful proofs. A proof that moved an incredibly talented man, whose name is very second elusive, but it's going to come back to me very soon. But there was an Israeli entertainer.
Uri Zohar.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Uri Zohar. I knew it was going to come back to me. So Uri Zohar. Uri Zohar was at the top of his field. Okay, he was an entertainer that was about to be signing a major Hollywood deal. And he was at a shtetl. I'll just cut to the chase of the story. I don't want to go through the whole story. But Uri Zohar was at a place where he met up, and he was a secular Israeli with a bunch of secular Israeli Hollywood hotshot type friends. He had a house over on the overlooking the Mediterranean. He was really about to take over the entertainment world with a splash, because he was not only talented as far as acting, he sang, he wrote, he was a comedian, he was everything. Everything wrapped into one. And one day he goes through shuttle brachas of a religious friend who never flipped out, and he had to sort of go because they had religious guys get invited somehow. So I'll be nice, I'll go. He met a certain rabbi, they got into a little argument. Bottom line is, if you want to know the proof that the Torah is true, give me a call. And he gave the card to 4 different people, Uri Zohar and 3 of his friends. When he got into the car, the 3 of his friends threw out the card and said, I'm not interested. Uri Zohar said, well, what do you mean not interested? Let's say he can prove to you it's true. Well, if this rabbi can prove to you that the Torah was given in the year 2448, and that's a fact, how do you not explore the possibility? He said, you stop it. Uri, just keep driving. What are you talking about? You know who you are. You're an actor, and you're about to sign a Hollywood deal. Let's stop this ridiculous thing about truth, and it's irrelevant. And he couldn't, and he looked at that card for a long time until he finally called. And Uri Zohar, for the last 20 years or so, 25 years, has been teaching Torah. He's got this incredible persona that has changed lives throughout the world. He's a chashuv rabbi today. Because he bothered to actually ask himself the question that his friends would not allow themselves to ask. Is it true? So I say the most fundamental answer to why we are religious Jews, because the Torah demands it, because it's true. It happened. God gave us a way of life. Are we going to now ignore that way of life? Are we going to now just sort of put our heads down and sort of say, what's the big deal? It doesn't impact me. How does truth not impact us? How does a divine revelation that we are counting down the days to? Today's the 13th day of the Omer. We're counting down the days to what? To some nice cultural experience called the Pentecost? What are we doing? We're counting down the Omer to an event that took place. And one of the most powerful proofs is the fact that how in the world, says the Gemara, how in the world does the Torah write in Parsha Shemini that there is one animal That's not kosher. And it's not kosher not because it doesn't have either siman of the two signs that you all know that a kosher animal has to have. But this is the one animal that does have split hoofs. It's very proud to show off its split hoofs, but it does not chew its cud. And that is the chazir. It says the Gemara, how in the world would anybody other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu write into the Torah, this is the one animal? And Moshe Rabbeinu examined the Amazon jungle, went through all of Asia and Africa to figure out there's only one animal in the entire world. At a time when they had a narrow focus of what was going on in the world. How do you write that? So yeah, you could say Moshe Rabbeinu is one, or well, according to the biblical critics, when you walk into Valley College or UCLA and you take Biblical Studies 101, you're going to get Q and J, and it was found, and it was compiled, and it was this and that. You'll get a whole fancy story about how the Torah got together. But the last thing they'll tell you, they'll never tell you this. You only hear is that it came from God. That's not an option. And if you open your mouth, you might get thrown out of the class and get an F for the course if you actually try to promote the idea that maybe God wrote the Torah. How dare you mention that in a college campus where religion is banned? An open, free thought of intellectual clarity is not acceptable. So is that not going to impact us? That is a powerful argument. That was the first argument that Uri Zohar heard. And he said, yeah, that's pretty powerful. Let me explore this. And the more he explored, the more he analyzed, the more and trust me, he had every reason not to want to see the truth. He had every reason to say, this is an old-fashioned storybook. Very nice, very beautiful, with all these rabbis who just follow all this stuff, and all these charedim. They're just narrow, they're just walking and with blinders on. They're not enlightened to the truth of the secular world. They said, who am I trying to kid? Who am I trying to fool? And that argument was the first argument that Uri Zohar heard. And he was already an accomplished person in the entertainment field, so he lived a good number of years already. And the first time he actually heard about truth, the first time he heard that actually maybe there was one religion different than every other religion, Rabbi said, one of the most fundamental differences we have with every other religion. We need to know this. Is that our religion is based on a communication in front of 3 million people that have to come from God. Because there are things in the Torah and there's a history that we have that is inconsistent with anything but a divine revelation by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So why are we Torah Jews? Because it's true. Because God gave us the Torah. Judaism is not a culture. It's not a nice way of life. It's not a morality game where we can feel good about ourselves because we eat the same gefilte fish and matzah balls that our great-grandparents ate. We make it about food and about this and about that. I'll never forget, maybe I hope I'll never forget, but it was very sad. We used to, way back, the girls' school rented from Temple Beth Hillel. And Temple Beth Hillel was a temple right on Riverside Drive, and way back the girls' school was there. And I would be in the girls' school in the afternoon, and I remember seeing some of the assignments that the teachers gave to the students. There was a day school there, Temple Beth Hillel, school. And I remember seeing an assignment that the teachers were very excited about, so they posted it on the wall. And the assignment was, what does Judaism mean to me? What's the significance of Judaism to me? And they posted, and I read it. I'm not sure, maybe it might have been a younger grade, but certainly it was somebody who can respond to the question. And how sad it was that Judaism is very important to me because I get a chance to eat bagels and lox on Sunday morning. That's Judaism. That's what kids are growing up with in certain circles. And so Rabbi said, when we reflect a little bit on Shemini, at the end of Shemini, about this is the animal, the chazir is the one and only animal, and only God could have known that. Nobody else could have known that. It's an eye-opening statement that the Gemara says is a proof that's Torah Sinai because Moshe Rabbeinu was not a hunter. He didn't spend time exploring the world. And then we get back to Ziknei Yisrael. How important it is if that's true, if that's what it's all about. A divine revelation that we're counting down the days during the Yemei Sfirah towards that incredible moment at night of Shavuos. But hopefully so many of you will be in this room and be in the other rooms where we have shiur and we have programming. And we get to hear different people speak about different very exciting topics. That night is not just a nice night where we get to eat cheesecake or order wings and chicken wings and have a nice it's more than that, Rabbi. It's the night. It's a night that we were waiting for, that eventful morning where HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to us. Where we had the divine revelation that Anochi Hashem Elokecha. This is truth, this is reality. And for some reason it's very hard for us to sort of hold into that reality. We're so honed into, I'm not even sure what it is, but this new craze. I mean, again, I'm not saying we shouldn't have distractions to be able to have fun, but if something consumes our time, and we can't get up in the morning because we're playing games tonight and competing against the rest of the world in whatever new fad there is. Fortnite, thank you. So we can't forget what truth is about. Luzikne Yisrael. That story was powerful and it sent home an incredible message. And so many of these stories. This is truth. Somebody couldn't understand the incredible story Rabbi Baron shared with us. Somebody couldn't, how could it be? It's your son. It's your son. How do you not save your son? Well, if it's wrong, how do you save your son? If somebody else is going to die, and this is not the Ratzon Hashem, to have a vision and an understanding that God runs the world, and our souls here are here for what? 70, 80, 90, 120 years. We're fleeting beings over here in this world. When you have an understanding that there's something that's eternal, and when you do the right thing, there's an existence and a reward waiting for us that will dwarf anything that we can possibly get here in this fleeting world. It has so much, as the Mesilas Yesharim says, so much difficult and hardship. This is what our existence is all about. It's about being able to earn an eternity in this world so we can get to the next world. When we start looking at the world that way, Rabbi Sayed, and we can do it, we could do it. As difficult as it is, and there's so much that's going in our heads in a different direction, but we can get back. And now's the time to get back to basics because we're counting down those days. Let's stop and reflect every time we count the Omer. We're counting another day when Klal Yisrael was awaiting that moment when they were going to receive the Torah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the heavens opened up. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to 3 million people, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. It happened. And because it happened, the closer I can get to that connection, the closer that I have a Rebbe that can connect me to a higher level of generation, L'ziknei Yisrael. The questions asked, we have this terrible tragedy in this week's Parsha of Nadav Avihu's and passing away, Aaron's 2 incredible sons, the holiest people of their generation. And because they bring an uncommanded, a not required age on the Mizbeach, so they volunteered him as an Eshet. They never asked if it's the right thing to do. For that, they get taken away in such spectacular fashion with two fires going through their nostrils and consuming the inside of their body. Is that the proper punishment for a mistake? One mistake by 2 incredible people? As Moshe Rabbeinu says to Aaron, they're holier than us. Because I thought that we're going to be taken today through a Kiddush Hashem. When the world sees how serious following the Torah is all about. The Kiddush Hashem, when they see, oh my gosh, you got to do the right thing. There's not a game. There's no joke. But who was it? It was Nadav Avihu. Why? Because you don't do things on your own. You don't make up new rules. You don't come up with new ideas. We're Mechadish, Rabbi saying the books on those shelves tell us about Chidushim. We have no problem being Mechadish, but we're Mechadish within Torah. We're not Mechadish outside of Torah. When people want to come along and change the Torah, we have to stand up and fight. Because they are threatening very lifeblood of our existence. If people want to take a pasuk out of the Torah or anything else away from the Torah, that's absolute red line in the sand, as they say, that you can't go there. And that's what we say. That's no. It's too much. So we have this really a parsha that reminds us of something so basic. Why are we from? Why are we Torah Jews? Why are we religious? Why do we keep Shabbos? To answer makes us feel good and we like it and it's just so heartwarming. It's all nice, but that's not the right answer. Because it's true. So God gave it to us. God had this incredible gift and he said, I'm going to give it to you with Shabbos. And no one else can relate to it. No one else can understand it. The greatest gift of them all was the gift of Torah. And the greatest way we can appreciate that gift is to get back to the Zikna Yisrael. To start appreciating. That's why we're looking for something to read. There's so many amazing inspirational stories. We read some of the biographies. Not of people 1,000 years ago. That's also great. But people 50 years ago. People 20 years ago. You read the biography of Rabbi Kanievsky and Rabbi. Simple. She looked simple. She lived in a simple home in the most basic little apartment in Bnei Brak. And this giant of a woman changed the world from her little apartment. I don't know how many times she probably never left Eretz Yisrael altogether. How many times she left Bnei Brak in her entire life. There's so many people we can read about that have the visceral reality that this is true. It's true. And we can say it 1,000 times, but until it gets into our souls on a deep level, Rabbi say, we will not be able to react properly. Mr. Reamer had that vision of Kibbutz Avrohom, that sense of survival. It's another just incredible. How do you survive in a ditch for 2.5 years? It's a miraculous existence. Miraculous. I don't want to speak for him, but I can only speculate. You survive when you have a vision that I have something to live for. I have to build. I have to do something. That's my role as a Jew in this world. If I can stay alive, fulfill my mandate, it's all worth it. So Rabbi said we have a lot to think about in this week's parsha. Let's really stop and reflect and internalize who we are, what we're counting down. And how what the Torah tells us to do is truth. It's reality. It's the fabric of our being. It's the lifeblood of our people. Bez Hashem, with that focus in mind, we'll be able to prepare for Shemini properly.